Hey, it's me, Angela. I don't know why that's been my little thing at the beginning, probably because I couldn't think of anything else just from being nervous talking to myself, to all of you on, you know, the internet. Anyways, you think I get less weird at this point, but not so much. Anyway, it is technically day 2 of me being in Budapest, or Buda+Pest, as we would say in the States, but my 3rd night, because I had arrived in the evening, late evening, I would say, because it was very dark, almost 9 o'clock on Friday from Prague. My train was a little delayed, and then I actually was supposed to stop at Kelenföld, because there's like 3 major train stations in Budapest. You have Kelenföld, Keleti, and Delhi, which I'm probably not saying all of them correctly. So I was supposed to get off at Kelenföld, which would be the first one coming in, but I had done a little bit of research and decided I'm going to go to the end of the line at Delhi. And I'm glad that I did, because it's was a little bit closer to where I needed to be. Originally, I was going to walk, and then I just decided not to, and actually got a Bolt ride, which this was the first interesting moment of Budapest. So they have a very secure taxi system here. So Uber isn't allowed to operate, and even if they are a Bolt ride, because Bolt is, I guess, what is more commonly used in Europe, because it's been available in every city that I have been in. I just hadn't utilized it. They have to be licensed, registered, whatever, through the taxi system for Budapest. And their cars are all designated. They have signage on it. It's very clear, even on the Budapest websites, it's very clear what the cars should look like and what they should say. So they are indeed yellow, and they say taxi, but they also say Bolt. So that was kind of a relief, because up to this point, I had decided not to utilize any kind of ride system except for one time in Prague. I had gone to the laundromat, and it was a very short ride, and it was during the day in the morning, so not such a big deal, but this was going to be at night, and I had already spent some time in Prague by that point, so this was a longer ride. It was like 15 minutes versus a few minutes, so a little bit different aspect, I guess. Also, I believe we had to cross the bridge at some point. I don't remember, anyways, because I was in a daze the first evening. I would show you what my residency looks like. However, I did a load of laundry, so there's clothes hanging everywhere to dry because there is no dryer, which was to be expected. So I do plan on doing a secondary video because I have a lot to cover, and I'm not going to put everybody through 40-minute video, since I've been kind of doing that. So let's hop into it. I get here relatively late, and I am hungry because I didn't eat anything on the train ride, which I sat next to some lovely people from Spain. So I was like, what am I going to do for food? I was looking for mini markets and stuff. There's a lot of little mini markets around me. And to my surprise, when I get out of the vehicle, I knew that I was staying in a trendy area as far as District 5, because that's a trendy area. I didn't realize how trendy. So it was hoppin', boppin', poppin', whatever you want to say on Friday night. And it didn't look like it was going to be dying down anytime soon. So I basically threw off my stuff. This is the first place I've had an actual couch, so I just threw my stuff on the couch, and I changed my shirt and I had already done a little bit of Googling up to this point, and about 20 steps from the door to the building here was a very nice restaurant as far as the service, the food. So I walk in right before probably 20 people and several groups walk in, so it was good timing. And I come in, and it's an older restaurant, and I say older in the sense of it's a bit more traditional. For example, all of the chairs of a nice older wooden style. There's someone who plays the piano most evenings, and it just has kind of that old-fashioned traditional vibe to it. Additionally, all their plates and everything has the name printed on it. So if you are traveling to Budapest and you happen to be near what they call like the Broadway of Budapest, it's like where all the fancy stores and such are, I would incline you to meander to Komedias Kazehaz, which is like Komedias coffee house, but they're not actually just a coffee house. So this will be backwards, but I will try to link it into the video. So a lot of things that I plan on linking, I will do at a later time because I just don't want to spend all my time trying to link everything right now. So if you see links, that's because Angela had time to do it. But highly recommend. They were very patient with me because up to that point, obviously, I don't speak Hungarian, and I had really only learned thank you on my train ride. That was the only thing that stuck at that point. And even just saying that, they were so incredibly grateful, and they taught me a few more words. Did they necessarily stick? No, because I was tired and hungry. But the service was wonderful. The food was fabulous. And I probably left an overly excessive tip, to be honest. And I tipped the guy playing piano because I thoroughly enjoyed the entire evening. And then I left a review, and the owner had messaged me back right away. So that was kind of funny. So that was that. Goulash, absolute must. And what we think in the United States is goulash is a lie, because it's more like a stew here with nice tender chunks of beef, potato, carrots. It's a little bit different at every place. I have had goulash every day in Budapest. Like it hits the spot if that's the kind of thing that you like, and it's served with bread and paprika. So there's like 150 types of paprika in Hungary, and Hungary, however you want to say it. It's actually Magyar, Magyar is how they say it in their own language. Anyways, highly recommend. I did try it yesterday with some paprika because at the restaurant we stopped at during the day trip, I had said, whatever I order, I want it served the Hungarian way, the Magyar way. And the waiter was like, okay, we can do that. So I just highly recommend, as I have in all my other videos, just go in with an open mind and don't necessarily just try to search for whatever is comfortable to you. But sometimes it's okay to just throw a blind dart at the menu and go for it. And sometimes it's a wonderful experience. I wouldn't say I've done some blind darts, but I've definitely just been like, let's try this and see what happens. And honestly, it's been pretty good up to this point. Except for, it was good, but it wasn't something I would eat on a regular basis, the herring in Germany. But that's a personal preference. It had nothing to do with the quality of the food. It was good fish. Okay, before I talk for 10 minutes more about food, because some people might criticize that. So day one, I don't explore the city itself. I decide, let's explore the countryside. So I had booked a day trip that went to 3 small villages out or towns outside of Budapest. And the whole reasoning for this was I wanted to see the oldest basilica in Hungary. Oddly enough, the route that the road takes forms a bit of a heart because you go around the Danube Bend. So we went. It is not far. Honestly, it's not that far. We were gone all day, but that's because we drove, we stopped, we looked around. So we went to... I wish I would have written this stuff down because it's all on my phone, but I will pull up my computer. So we actually go across the Slovakian border just for a blip of a moment, 10 minutes, just to get that picture moment across the river and of the basilica. And it was very windy yesterday, so I felt sort of at home because Kansas can be very windy. And it had been cloudy and it was a little drizzly, but not bad. And it was 60 degrees yesterday, so 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, just in case. So that was kind of a fun experience, just across the Slovakian bridge. In the details for the trip I booked, it didn't mention we should bring our passports, but no one stopped or asked us for our passports. But it is a good idea to have it. So you just never know. Then we went back. We went to the basilica. A lot of it is under construction, so didn't really get the grand experience that you might anticipate, but still quite beautiful. What was interesting is that one dome was completely finished with being cleaned up and another dome was on the ground, so you could just see the size, and it was a smaller dome, but really quite beautiful. And then we went to the next town and got to check that out, some picture moments. And then the last place that we stopped at, we had lunch. Sorry, we had lunch at the second spot. And that was the place I was like, however they eat it, that's how I want it. I had duck breast. Delicious. It's the better bird, if you ask me. It was so good. And I had a small bowl of goulash, of course, and a dessert, of course, and it was a great meal. And yeah, the duck breast was great. And then we went to the next town, in which we went to a retro museum, which houses thousands of items during the communist time. So if you didn't know, Hungary was under some communist rule. And so what is interesting about Budapest is on the Buda side, there's a lot of leftover communist buildings that, of course, have been renovated and repurposed for better apartment space. But you can see the stark difference in the functional architecture versus just what the other styles of architecture on the Pest side. Even though those buildings are newer. So the Retro Museum has all kinds of items: toys, TVs, electronics, motorbikes, cars. And you actually can get inside almost all the vehicles and take pictures. And the group I was with for the day tour was 2 Indian families that didn't ever meet each other before, but they were from the same region and they both now reside in Dubai. What are the chances? And they all spoke wonderful English. So I had a great time getting to know the 2 families and their children. And then after that, there's this whole pedestrian street that you walk up. So I imagine in the summertime it is pretty dang crowded with loads of shops. Only about half the shops are open. And you can purchase all kinds of things, handmade goods and treats and so on and so forth. And it's just this nice little picturesque street. And then at the very end, it's like this golden pot at the end is the marzipan museum and store. So of course I beeline up to that because, treats. So I go to the marzipan store and I buy some items, some treats. And I go back. I couldn't remember what time we were going to have to leave. So I buzz back down to the tour guide. I'm like, what time are we supposed to leave? Oh, no, you have plenty of time. Have you seen the museum? I'm like, no, I just got the treats because that was the goal. So go to the Marzipan Museum, and there are sculptures and castles and dinosaurs and Michael Jackson made out of marzipan. And if you don't know what it is, it's about 70 to 80% almond, and then the rest confectionery sugar. So it's supposed to be a nice fluffy type thing. So different from like nougat or nougat, however you say it. And loads of different things that you can get with the marzipan. So the museum, though, was pretty interesting. A little creepy in a way, because it's just like an older place. But it does, on every label, tell you how many hours it took for it to be created. And I believe it mentioned the weight. So some things took 24 hours, 90 hours. It was pretty incredible. And Michael Jackson honestly looked pretty legit. Princess Diana, her nose was a little bit off, but still, like, I'm not going to criticize. I can't make a damn thing with marzipan, let alone marzipan itself. So, very neat thing. Beautiful day, aside from tons of wind. You can walk a little bit next to the river, and then off you go back into the city. So that was day 1. Day 2, interesting weather. It made me think a lot about the weather that you would experience on the foothills of Colorado, because the day started off with rain, and then it got sunny again, and then it rained, and then it was very windy, and then it got sunny again, and then it rained again. So, a bipolar day, per se. And the tour I took this morning was of the Pest side. So that is where you're going to find a lot of, like, historical buildings. And there are a lot of things that have been, reconstructed due to damage of the wars. And Hungary does have very interesting and unique history, because the original Hungarians are maybe closer in relation to Asia, the Mongolians specifically, and the Ottoman Empire has impact. So they were a nomadic community, warriors on horses, and they, come to this area and conquer it. And it was 7 tribes. So the 7, lots of significance. Can I speak English anymore? I don't know. So when you look up to the Buda side, because Pest is down lower, Buda is up higher, across the Danube, and generally you could just walk across the train bridge, but right now it's under renovation. Lots of construction happening here, lots of renovation. And why, you might ask? I did. It's the 150-year anniversary of Buda+Pest and Old Buda coming together as one united community. So the EU has provided funds for lots of renovations to happen on these significant buildings. So like the Parliament building, which is huge, and I wish I would be able to tour it, but I won't be able to because it'll be closed tomorrow, and then I leave too early on Tuesday to see it. But it's huge. So a little bit of a funny thing, like 1896 is a significant year to their history. So there is a rule in Budapest, or at least on the Pest side, that nothing can be higher than 96 meters. So the Parliament building and then St. Stephen's Basilica are both at exactly the 96 mark. And part of that significance is like church and state is equal, which I was told politically isn't necessarily true, which shocker. So very, very cool. That little tidbit. And then there's lots of little intricate pieces about the Parliament building that are interesting. Like there's 52 staircases for the 52 weeks, and there's 365 like a specific type of sculpture or such all around the building. There's 365 to signify the 365 days. And then there's 2 wings, and one wing has blue carpet and the other wing has red carpet. And I really wish I could go inside and see it because it's huge and it looks amazing and beautiful. And lit up at night is amazing. So I hope tomorrow night, my plan is to walk around because it's been very busy on these evenings during the weekend to take some nice photos. So anyway, there's just a lot here. St. Stephen's Basilica, haven't gone in, maybe tomorrow afternoon. I plan on going to thermal baths tomorrow, so maybe I'll have more to talk about. But there's actually a mummified right hand in St. Stephen's Basilica. A little weird, I know. The Holy Hand, because apparently St. Stephen, they opened up his crypt. Some people got the idea too that it's weird, creepy skeleton, and only his right hand had mummified naturally because he wasn't preserved in any way. So they saw it some miracle, some sign, and so it's in its own little glass box in the basilica. Okay, so then there is way more, but I'll cover more in another video. Then second tour, I went up to the Buda side, and that is where the castle is, and St. Matthew's Basilica. And St. Matthew's Basilica is beautiful on the outside. It's neo-Gothic. What I found out, something unique about the roof, is it's this 3-layered material where one is supposed to be like freeze-proof, then another fireproof, and the last dust. So there should be no need for cleaning. It should always stay nice and beautiful. Really starstruck. Like, I was starstruck by it because at the time that I'm up around the castle area, the rain is starting to die down. The clouds are starting to lift. You have this dark section and the sun's coming out and there's a double rainbow. Picturesque, right? Couldn't tell you if I really got a double rainbow in the pictures or not because I was wearing sunglasses. But there is the Fisherman's Bastion as well, and there's 7 towers, again, to signify the 7 nomadic tribes that founded Hungary. So walking around the Buda area of St. Matthew's or Matteos Church, and the palace area, which a lot of that has been reconstructed because it was damaged, and during the communist time they didn't preserve any of that stuff, so it had really taken a toll. And there are 2 buildings up there that have been completely replicated and put back up because they didn't exist there before, but from information that they had and plans, they were able to construct them. So there's plenty more for me to talk about, trust me, because I've spent a little more time in Budapest than I have elsewhere. But I just have more to say about like the people and the history, and tomorrow I'll have a little bit more to add. But I will close with this. Try in every place to at least learn thank you, and say it genuinely. You may not always say it correctly, but what I can say about my time here in Budapest is I am shocked by the fact that if I say thank you and even one or no in Magyar, Hungarian, the people are so appreciative of that effort. And I think I've said 1, 2, 3 words in your language while I'm in your country, and you are speaking my language. I know I'm not the only person speaking English, like Americans are not the only ones, but I think taking the time to know that and just absorbing any of the really interesting information about wherever you're going is significant. So today I went to the same restaurant that I went to on Friday, and they were actually getting ready to close. And they were like, for you, we will serve you still. We'll leave the kitchen open. And I was like, I just want goulash. We'll make it simple. Because I was still so cold from earlier. So keep tuned in for part 2 of Budapest. And then off to Vienna is the next, and I can't believe I am almost 2/3 of the way through this trip. It feels like I've been gone for an eternity. I really severely miss my husband and my home. I wouldn't say I'm homesick anymore, but I think I've become very appreciative of our life. And it's not because it's a better or worse or anything situation. It's just like, I think that I kind of needed this trip to just revitalize who I am and what's important to me, and kind of spark those passions again. So I'm very grateful to my husband being like, okay, you go trek around with your backpack, and checking in with me and making sure that I'm still okay. So shout out to David, love him. And just everybody that's been following me along the way. I think today, for some reason, I was just hit with the real the impact of this trip on me, and the level of appreciation and just care. I don't know, like I can't even put it into words. I was just struck with a lot of different emotions today, positive ones, and just being so appreciative of all the support of everybody. And I love telling people, like, I have people from home following me, and I have this YouTube channel, and it may not be a big deal, but if it brings any joy to just one of you, if it brings any interest to just one of you, or if it sparks your, I don't know, your confidence that you can do this too, even if it's just a few days, and somewhere else in the United States, then this has served its purpose, beyond just my own personal little video diary, I guess. So goodbye for this one. Köszönöm, thank you, or Kusi, I guess is the short thanks. And enjoy, and see you for the next one, and subscribe, of course. And if you're following me on Facebook, stay tuned for those photos. All right. See you for the next one.